The Chiefs off-season plan is coming together, and we're going to talk about that. What's going on, Chiefs Kingdom, ladies and gentlemen? How we all doing tonight? Good to see everybody. Get to rolling in here, baby. Hit that like button for your boys. Let's get this out to a bunch of people. Have a good night talking about Chiefs football. Before we get started on all the good content, we're going to shout out DraftKings for sponsoring tonight's live stream.
The next great playoff touchdown is coming, and you can bet on every moment of postseason glory. We've teamed up with DraftKings Sportsbook because playoff football delivers the biggest scores of the year, and every trip to the end zone matters more than ever. Whether it's first touchdown score, anytime touchdown, player props, or same-game parlays, DraftKings gives you more ways to ride the adrenaline of every score during Super Bowl 60. Right now, new customers that bet $5 can get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins by signing up using our promo code ACU. With DraftKings, the crown is yours.
If you don't have DraftKings, download that bad boy. Use the promo code ACU so they'll know that we sent you their way. Mike, how we doing tonight, my man?
I'm doing good. Every single person is talking about the Chiefs right now as the whole dynasty's over.
It's over.
Like we have to be real. Like the notifications all day long on my phone have been just a mess. They're saying the Chiefs are a mess. Every national talking point is the exact same. The Chiefs are $55 million over the cap. They're done. The defense is getting older. Chris Jones can't do it. The AFC's figured out Patrick Mahomes. And it's like for the first time in 5 years, maybe longer, the first time since Mahomes has been a quarterback here, the rest of the NFL's almost not scared of the Chiefs. I feel like we've lost our aura. And a lot of them are laughing at us. And it's really weird, as if we're done. And they think the dynasty died this year. They think it's over. But, man, I think tonight me and you are going to discuss a little bit of why I don't think the end is actually the end. It's just maybe a massive reset button that Brett Veach and Reid are going to have to smash on, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, what are you talking about? They're over the salary cap. We've seen that before, right? And besides, there's one reason why the Chiefs are not just going to disappear into the oblivion and not be competitive, and that's Patrick Mahomes. He'll be back. He's going to be doing what he does, which is be the greatest quarterback to ever step on a football field. Just give it time, man. Like you said, they got to tweak some things. They got to get up to date a little bit on that offensive scheme. And, it could be a totally different ball game, man. But let's talk about that, all the different things that they have to do. Let's kind of break it down, man. I know we've talked about all this stuff several times throughout the offseason already, just in the last month or so. But, I mean, it all starts with restructuring, getting to salary cap compliance and getting yourself ready to make some moves in free agency, because we've talked about several times. I think free agency needs to be looked at a little bit different this year. It needs to be looked through a little bit different lens. I think it's more important than they've ever thought it should be. They go out, they sign these little pieces here and there, like Jawan Taylor. They overpaid him at right tackle. They go get a Christian Fulton. They'll go get these random people, Mike, but they've never really made any splash moves in free agency. I think we're to a point now to where the Chiefs need to find a proven, really good game changer in free agency. And I think that Brett Veach, that's the first thing he's going to do, is do these restructures, cut some guys, free up some salary cap, and go after a player that can actually change this thing like a Breece Hall. I think he's absolutely going to be looking at somebody like that.
Yeah, look, the Chiefs have to be cap compliant by the start of the new league year, and that is March 11th. 4 p.m. Eastern. You put it on a calendar, get you a countdown in your iPhone. He's got to be compliant. And there's only a few ways he can do this. And I know that everybody knows that this is coming. This happened every year. But Patrick Mahomes has to go in with the restructure. That's all you can do is Patrick Mahomes has to get that restructure. He's done it every year. He's got a $78.2 million cap hit coming for 2026. We know he's not taking that fully. It's not going into the year. But he's a cap relief tool. We've seen it set up because his contract's so large and he's here for so long that is a good relief tool for us. So they have to convert a large portion of that base salary and $10.4 million in roster bonus. They're going to have to push most of that into a signing bonus. And I think just that single move basically wipes out almost our entire minus $54 million right now. Let's be honest. That's going to wipe out close to $44.5 million, give or take a couple $100,000, which is pretty insane. So when people are like dancing on the graves of the Chiefs saying, hey, $55 million in cap space, you're behind. Well, Patrick Mahomes' restructure is going to be 40, right in that $44-45 million range. And that's big. It's huge. And the thing about it is a lot of these contracts, like we've talked about Chris Jones, he's carrying in a big cap. Creed Humphrey could maybe get a restructure. You could get Nick Bolton, or you could get Trey Smith, who just signed contracts last year.
Chris Jones.
That's the thing. Right. That's the thing about these is that there's basically what they call automatic conversion loopholes. So almost every superstar contract has this clause where they can unilaterally convert salary to a bonus at any time. And it's not a renegotiating deal, so they can do it. And that's the thing. These players don't have a choice. Modern contracts just don't allow it. It's called an automatic conversion, and basically the player doesn't get any less. They just get their money sooner. Instead of getting a paycheck each week, they could get $10 million up front, and it helps the cap. So all these players, yes, they did just sign last year if you're looking at, say, Bolton or Trey Smith, but they absolutely could convert some of their salary as early as this year.
I think any player in the NFL in 2026, every time they take some kind of ridiculous contract that puts them at, either resetting the market or at the top of the market, they have to absolutely 100% know they're going to end up restructuring at some point.
Yeah.
You just can't. It's not feasible to keep paying these guys their full contract every year. It's not going to happen.
Right. And it's not necessarily a restructure. It's just a conversion.
Right. And you already mentioned like the Patrick Mahomes thing, and it blows my mind that still to this day, when you see people talking about the Kansas City Chiefs, especially people outside of the organization or people that are not fans, they always go to the same thing. Oh, the Chiefs are imploding because it's Patrick Mahomes' massive contract. They should have known better than that. And it's like, he has the most team-friendly contract of any quarterback in the NFL. Literally, it's set up that way for him to restructure and free up $40 million a year. Like, there's nobody else doing that. So what the hell are they even talking about? They don't know anything about what they're talking about. So I think that, like, the kind of the perspective of the Chiefs from the outside looking in, I think it's asinine. I don't even think they know what the hell they're talking about. It's like pulling some guy off the street and asking him about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they really don't get it. The way it's set up, man, we're going to free up cap space. Veach has made, millions and millions and millions, tens of millions of dollars of, cap over the cap money just disappear at the drop of a hat before. We've seen it. What was it? 3 years ago, we had a salary cap of like we had $138 available or something like that. That was a big joke. But then all of a sudden, we turn around and signed 3 free agents.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And all of our draft picks. So I mean, it's just silly. I think the Chiefs are going to have plenty of money to work with. Now, how far can they push it though? That's the question. Because like I've been saying, I would love to see 2 big free agency signings, one on each side of the football. I've been saying this, and I'll say it again today. I think they should try to get Breece Hall, and they should try to get Boye Mafe. That's the 2 people that Brett Veach wanted before the trade deadline. 110%. Right. And Veach gets fixated. Veach likes to get the guys that he likes. And, it sounds crazy because you're going to spend a bunch of money on a running back, and you're going to spend a bunch of money on an edge rusher. That's not crazy to me. At this point, you get 2 guys that are game changers to come in here, and we still have, all of our draft picks. We still got a lot of young guys that are needing to develop. I don't know, man. I just think those moves would make more sense to me than anything. I mean, what's the difference of spending $80 million on a Jawan Taylor or turning around and spending, not even that much on 2 guys? You know what I'm saying?
Right. We'll get to who we should sign a free agency. I think before we need to talk about, there's one big one, and I think you need to talk a little bit about Trent McDuffie. Are they going to restructure him? Or are they going to trade him?
That's where the first domino falls, right? I think
exactly. So I think we have to talk about that before we talk about free agency at this point.
Okay, let's talk about it. We've talked about it a lot, but
right.
I know my perspective hasn't changed. I can go either way. If Brett Veach decides to pay Trent McDuffie, I'm not going to be mad. I love Trent McDuffie. I think he's a great football player. But if they decide they need to move on, like they normally do with corners, that's business. I'm not going to be mad at it. So, I mean, what do you think about it? I guess the question is what do you think is most likely to happen? Like if you're looking at it through your GM lens, like you're Brett Veach, what do you think makes sense?
Well, look, it's been rumored that they plan to re-sign him, and then the opposite of that is Brett Veach doesn't re-sign corners. You don't pay big money. But I kind of looked at it in both scenarios, and if you trade him, okay, you could potentially save $13.6 million on this deal this year, right? You save 13.6. It's likely you're getting a first-round pick, which I've got an hilarious article written up today that we've got to look at in a minute for a trade option for McDuffie. It is the
ridiculous,
most asinine thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, I can't believe this guy is a beat reporter for an NFL team. But anyways, so you could cut him, or not cut him, you could trade him 13.6 is what you would save. You don't have to do anything, and he's just hitting 13.6 million. You could maybe, move some money around and that not even be a big deal for you. But the thing about it is I looked into the possibility of re-signing McDuffie, and I was able to work out a deal to where if you did about a 4-year, $100 million extension, that's putting him at that $25 million per year mark that he's wanting, right? That's right on the nose of what he's wanting. And you was to guarantee him $75 million of that, then that basically is going to give him a $30 million signing bonus in 2026, which would prorate his contract now to about $6 million in 2026, which means you could save $7.25 million. So by just restructuring McDuffie to a 4-year, $100 million deal with $75 million guaranteed, you automatically keep McDuffie, and now you don't have to pay him $13.5. He's coming down to $7.2. So you essentially drop off $6.4 million off McDuffie and keep him long term. So do you like that idea? And do you think maybe that's why Brett Veach is going that route rather than just trade him straight up? Because you get McDuffie and you're saving $6.4 million. If you trade him, you do get picks. I do understand that. But you save 13.5 and you get some picks, or you keep McDuffie, a great corner, and you still save 6.4.
Well, that's fantastic. That works, right? That tracks, because I'm thinking the thing that makes the most sense to me is just leave McDuffie alone. Pay him the $13.2 million. You can franchise tag him next year and then trade him away if that's what you want to do. That makes the most sense to me. And I love McDuffie. I'd love to see him stick around. Now, that being said, the inside information that is being reported is they are trying to extend McDuffie. Right. Maybe for the exact reason that you just mentioned, because they can save money this year. And then they have a little bit more leeway with what to do with McDuffie going forward. You know, if they decide to keep him, they can keep him. If they decide to trade him away, they can trade him away. If they have him under contract, they can kind of do a lot of different things. And it's not like coming down to, the crunch time where it's like, oh, you have a year to figure this out or whatever. But, I mean, I think it makes the most sense to me. Just let it ride, man. $13 million is not bad for a top 3 corner in football. And then you turn around, tag him, and trade him.
If you don't do something with the 13.5 or whatever he's owed this year, and you don't do the restructure, which would essentially save you 6.5 of that, then you are going to have to 100%. You're probably going to have to get Chris Jones to convert money over, and he's probably going to have to convert over his entire full salary of 13.5. You'd probably have to get Chris Jones to convert that entire 13.5 that you're going to pay McDuffie. Or you're going to have to go to Creed Humphrey or Trey Smith and probably try to squeeze out another $8 to $10 million in there somehow, which is possible. Right. Trey Smith got paid a crap ton. So if you don't do the McDuffie thing and you let him sit for the 5th year and you pay him the 13.5, that's going to cause Brett Veach to have to go to maybe Trey Smith, Creed Humphrey, Nick Bolton, and squeeze out money that way. And that's also saying that Chris Jones is going to have to squeeze out 13.5. And again, I don't think Chris Jones has an option here. If the Chiefs want to convert some of his contract into money, he's going to have to do it. And I don't think he argues it. He just gets a big lump sum of $13 million in the mail.
Right.
And he doesn't lose it. He just gets it early, right? So Brett Veach has got plenty of things, but I think that was the big thing with McDuffie. Do you want to extend him? Do you don't? Do you want to let it play? Do you not? I think if you extend him, it causes you to have to do less work across the board when it comes to restructuring and squeezing out money from other contracts. So it's how much Brett Veach actually wants to do. How much does he want to work this offseason?
Yeah, exactly. Shout out Flapjack with the 2 bomb real quick. Says, we live in a matrix, check your X account. Mike, you can check that out if you want to. let me know what Flapjack's talking about. Appreciate the two, brother. But the McDuffie thing, it's definitely the first domino to fall. Just for, the sake of moving this along, let's just say they do nothing with him. Let's just say they do nothing. That's $13.6 million. That's what he's getting paid this year. Let's just go with that. What else can we free up?
So if we pay him 13.6, you free up with Mahomes. You're going to free up $45 million with Mahomes, and I think I've got the entire thing right here. I can just bring it up. Here, I'll just bring it up. This is what I was estimating. Your starting deficit's about $55 million. You would get 44 with Mahomes. You could restructure Chris and save 13.4. You release Jawan Taylor at 19.5. You can release Dan at 5.8, and then you extend McDuffie and you save 6.4.
This isn't even counting just letting Tranquil walk, or
no, it's not counting anything to do with Tranquil. It's not counting that one. This was the way to keep. So yeah, it's at 34.5 positive now, and so you could still be able to get Tranquil. You could push that up to 40 because Tranquil, I think, is another 6.5. You've got options with other players. Not only Tranquil, but I was looking through today. If you really wanted to get to the nitty gritty here, you could release. Yes, Tranquil will save you $6 million. You could release. Who was it? Christian Fulton. You could release Christian Fulton or Jalen Moore after June 1st and save a big chunk of money on both of them as well. So those can be post June cuts. And that would work out for you. So there's several different ways to do it. And then, of course, me and you've talked over and over again. If you really wanted to, you could save a couple million by getting rid of Wanye Morris. You could save a little bit of money by who was the other one we were talking about today? And it was kind of a one out. Oh, it was Chamari Connor. Somebody said you could get rid of Chamari and say 4, right? But yeah they're not going to do that.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. I mean, Spags wouldn't even take him off the football field. Do you think they're going to cut him?
I think realistically, you're looking at the right thing. Like the restructure of Mahomes, the release of Jawan Taylor, and I think Mike Dan is going to have to be a mandatory release. That saves you $8.9 million. And then whatever you do with McDuffie, that's kind of on the fence. And kind of Drew Tranquil's on the fence, depending if you can get Chris Jones to restructure as well. And not really restructure, but just convert.
Right. Do you think Brett Veach will dabble in any void year stuff?
He doesn't like to do that. I don't see it.
I don't think he will either.
If he uses void, he could do it for Travis Kelce's contract. So if Kelce comes back this year and he wants $10 million, if he wants $12 million, I could see them maybe pushing out 2 void years on that just to lower the cap immediately and get Kelce back for a year and just kind of push that contract out over 2 years. Something like that. But going on, if that's how we look at the offseason and how we get back, and I think we definitely get back in the green. We had this graphic I wanted to bring up. Restructure potential. Look how high. The Chiefs have $109 million of restructure potential. Third best in the league. Like, it's not even close. And then look at the void year kings all the way down at the bottom. 0.2. They got $200,000 they could potentially restructure in 2026. So you don't want to dabble too much. You don't want to dabble too much in those void years. That's 100% for sure.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it, and I don't think Brett Veach will, honestly. I mean, like you said, not going to change his stripes. He's going to be what he is, and I think he's going to operate kind of the same way. Mike, you mentioned Christian Fulton and Chamari Connor. Those could both be kind of some like little surprising cuts that could save some money. The Chamari Connor one, though, at $4 million, like I was saying, I just don't see it happening. I think, Steve Spagnuolo is just too enamored with this.
Yeah, I don't either.
It's wild, but I don't know. I wouldn't be opposed to it, and I know a lot of people wouldn't because everybody's tired of watching them get cooked. But I think regardless, you can see how, that could help to free up a little bit of cap space. But there's lots of different ways to do it, Mike. Let's be realistic here. So, you had that graphic that shows how much they possibly could. We've talked about a bunch of different ways that they could save space, which there it is right there. They could potentially be at $109.2 million in the positive.
That's how much money they could potentially save off cuts. So they're at $54 million. They can literally reverse that by 90, which means they go up over $50 million.
Right. So if you're looking at $50 million of cap space, say $55 million of cap space, how much does big players take of that? Like Breece Hall, what's he wanting to get paid? What was his market value? 20?
I knew you were going to ask that, so I ran the numbers on him. I knew you were going to ask that. So here we go. Actually, let me just bring in the graphic here. I've got the graphic.
Mike is a graphic king today, baby. Let's go. Hey, while Mike's bringing in that graphic, because that's what he does, you guys do us a favor, hit that like button real quick. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed. I don't know what you're waiting for, especially if you're a Chiefs fan. If you're not a Chiefs fan, you just like to talk football, you're more than welcome here too. Hit that subscribe button and let's get it, baby. Man, I don't know, Mike. I need to see the graphic because I need to know like the market values. I should know these off the top of my head by now. As many times we've talked about it.
Yeah. So the market value is somewhere around 9 to 10 million for Breece Hall, and they're estimating the one that I went with because I don't think Kenneth Walker is going to be there.
No,
I just don't.
No.
I put Travis Etienne. I think he's the other big hit in free agency for running backs.
Yeah,
that's if he gets to the market too. I think Etienne and Breece Hall has to be your 1 and 2 right now if Kenneth Walker's not hitting the market. So this is basically what it was. Their market value was 10 to 14 million for Breece Hall and 9 to 12 million for Etienne, and their estimated cap hit if you sign them for 4 years it's 4 years for Breece Hall and 3 years for Etienne. It would be a $5.5 million cap hit. All you would pay Breece Hall. And a 4.5 for Etienne.
And if you had $55 million available, that's a splash in the water.
Look, even not even getting crazy to the 55, just by doing what I've got on screen right now, and this is extending McDuffie. So you didn't lose McDuffie to do this. You still got 34.5. So potentially 34.5, and then you're going to knock off, let's just say, you'll be down to like $28 million to put Breece Hall on, and that's plenty of money to go get a free agent. Maybe even some defensive line.
What about Boye
your draft class?
We know that's another one he was after, and I understand he just won the Super Bowl. They could absolutely retain him in Seattle. It wouldn't surprise me one bit. But go look at it. See what his market value is. Because, I mean, if you're talking $5.5 million that you'd be spending on Breece Hall, that would still put you right around $50 million available. I think you could do a lot of things with that. And, dude, just think of the possibilities also going into the draft, depending on what you get with free agency, because there's so many different ways you could skin a cat here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if they were to keep McDuffie around, like, how great would it be to go ahead and get rid of Shamari Connor? Save me $4 million on Shamari Connor, draft Avion Terrell, use him in the slot. Like, I don't care. Like, there's so many different ways you could go about this, and it's pretty exciting when you really start to think about it. But first and foremost, they got to free up that cap space, baby. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so here I'm going to bring this graphic in. Here we go. This is the 4 most probably potential players that the Chiefs could go out and look at. And it's going to have a guy on here that people's going to love. And I threw him on here just to see what it would be. Number 1 on the list, Trey Hendrickson. I'd look to see how much Trey Hendrickson. It says he could sign for 2 years, $50 million. He'd be a $12 million hit. So again, essentially, we had $28 million. That would bring us down to say 18. We'd still have $16 million to sign our draft class, and that is still more potential to. I've actually come up with another thing that you could do post June 1st. So if you got him on the roster right now and you signed that draft class, now you still might need more players, right? But dude, you could trade Noah Gray after June 1st, and Noah Gray could get you. That would save $6 million on the cap. You could get rid of Christian Fulton or even Jalen Moore and save $9 million, somewhere around that, towards the cap. So there are ways. And again, a lot of people will be like, well, why do you want to get rid of Jalen Moore? He's good backup. But honestly, we've seen enough out of Esapole. He could start next year, and I'd be completely fine with that if you got rid of Jawan Taylor. And then if we draft a tackle, I would be completely fine with that, not even having Jalen Moore on the roster. You're trusting Josh Simmons a lot is what you're doing.
Well, that's the thing, though, dude. If you're cutting Jawan Taylor, there's no way in hell you're getting rid of Jalen Moore. You're not doing both.
But you could.
Why would you? All of a sudden, Esapole is your starter. Who's the backup?
You'd have to draft it. That would be the trade-off.
I don't know about that.
I'm just saying that was a way. I would much rather get rid of Fulton for the $8 million than Jalen Moore for the $9 million, right? But I'm just saying those were 2 options. And then here's your other ones. Adafe Owe, who we seen last year, they're estimating him 3 years, 57.9, so 58. He would be about a 9.5 cap hit. And it's got a little bit of performance stuff next to him, so breakout year, 10 sacks in 2024. Jalen Phillips, we talked about him. He's only 26. They're saying you could get him 3 years, $52 million. He'd only be about an $8.5 million cap hit in 2026. And then Boye Mafe, they're projecting 3 years, $37 million. He'd be a $6 million hit. So if that's the one you wanted to look at, Mafe at $6 million and you would have 5.5. So we'll just say $6 million. So that's $12 million to bring in Boye Mafe and Breece Hall in free agency. That would be our 2026 cap hit.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. And then you could still probably look at an Isaiah Likely or something like that. There's plenty of space.
That crazy,
I just don't think people are really grasping the concept of what Brett Veach can Houdini here. Like, there's a lot of space, actually, when it looks terrible. Oh, $55 million over the cap.
How many times have we said this over the last few years? The cap is a myth. It's how you know how to manipulate it.
Exactly. It's kind of fake, isn't it? I mean, just look at the Eagles.
Yes, Chiefs fans have been convinced since the beginning of time, and it goes all the way back to the Carl Peterson days, that we're always poor. We're always poor, and it's just because they don't know how to manipulate the cap properly. We're poor, and we're not that poor, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you guys in the chat that are saying don't touch the O-line, really. I wouldn't want to drop a lot of people off the O-line. Now, Jawan Taylor, I think that's the one that everybody would be like, okay, cool, he's got to go. If they restructure Jawan Taylor, though, I think there'd be a big portion of people would be mad. I wouldn't be that mad at it. As long as he can just, stay clean, like quit getting all the penalties over and over again.
Do you remember what the number was that we estimated for him if they restructured instead of dropped?
I
it was
can't
save
remember.
20, and then I think if they restructured, they could save 12 to 14, somewhere in that ballpark.
I can't remember, but I think with the O-line, I think if anything with the O-line, you reinforce it. Because I think we've learned our lesson over the last 8 years with Patrick Mahomes is that's what's going to bite you in the ass. If you don't make sure that you have a solid ass O-line with plenty of depth, it can come back and bite you hard. Yeah. And it's got us twice in the biggest game. And I just don't think you can even risk that. So to me, I think you keep all the depth you can there.
I absolutely think you could get rid of Wanye Morris and save $3 million.
Wanye can go.
Yeah,
Wanye's
he could go.
Depth.
That's $3 million. Look, getting rid of Wanye Morris this year and knocking his 2026 pays half. Half of the cap hit. Steve, half of the cap hit for Breece Hall if you just get rid of Wanye Morris this year. I'll take that every day.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Wanye Morris is not depth. Wanye Morris is a liability.
He's ass.
That's what he is.
That's what he is.
He's cheeks. Sorry, brother.
Hey,
you're probably a good kid, but I just you gotta go.
I found Flapjack talking about the Matrix. He wanted to bring up the Super Bowl thing. Said it was the Taylor Swift cover.
I see. So she's gonna be the halftime artist. You think?
Yeah. No, he's saying that she's.
Just she could never be as good as Bad Bunny was, who's the greatest performer of all time. But I mean, they could try. They could bring in Taylor Swift.
He said, "Hey, dude, I've been loving that meme.
Rich says, bring in Turnstile, baby. Let's roll. Let's do
it." Do you think it's just? Look, I think no matter what, it's just the Dolphins are getting in. I think that's what I see. It's just a Dolphins year. Mm-hmm. Do you buy into the logo thing?
No. I think it's look, bring the logo up and let me tell you why I don't buy into it.
I think they put so many colors in there that you almost couldn't go wrong.
Look, if you wanted to say, let's just say, for instance, that the top half is the AFC and the bottom half is the NFC.
Right.
We could still make
Chargers.
We could do 50 million different things.
Yeah.
You got the Chiefs
Chargers,
could be there.
the
The Donkeys could be there.
Yeah. The Bengals.
The Bengals. I mean, there's so many. I think that's why that works out. Because you can just make up whatever you want. Because if you look at the NFC side, the Seahawks are back. The Eagles are there. You could just keep coming up with stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Man, and you know what? You could just flip them. You can flip-flop them. And be
Jacksonville
like,
on the bottom.
The Redskins are in. Yeah, I think you've just covered a lot of people there. You've covered maybe half the league, if not more.
Right, so no matter what, you can kind of make it work out to the way you want it to work out.
The only way it don't work out, is if you get somebody like what? The Detroit Lions. I don't know if you could fit them in there. I don't see nothing for that. So,
they're screwed.
Even the Commanders. Look, you've got some burgundy at the very bottom of the logo outline.
Yeah, you already said them. The Redskins and the Commanders are the same team, brother.
Oh, I said the Redskins, didn't I? Well, I'm living back in 2000.
Yep.
I don't know. Who knows?
Pretty cool. You guys get in the chat. Let us know what you think about the entire situation. What do you think? I know we've kind of polled this before, so I won't put a poll up. But do you want to keep McDuffie? Do you want to trade McDuffie? What do you want to do with that situation? Or third option, just leave it alone, let it ride out, and
just
then
leave it. You can
tag
leave
and trade him. Okay, and then after that, I want to see some names of people that you guys would sign after some restructures.
Right.
What do you think's the most beneficial? I mean, to me, Mike, it makes a lot of sense. If you can free up $50 million of cap space, do what you got to do to go get Breece Hall. If that's who you want, Brett Veach, if that's who the fans want, if that's who we think could change the offense, go get his ass. I don't even care.
Yeah, go.
If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Okay, that's fine. But go get your Boye Mafe. You want a Boye Mafe? He was an 80th percentile of run defense, and that's what you guys love. A guy that can set the edge. Okay, and he's still got 20 sacks in 4 seasons.
Would you prefer Boye Mafe, or would you prefer off that list Jalen Phillips or Owe?
Okay,
I think I would prefer Trey Hendrickson. If I knew he could be a high level for 2 years, even $12 million, I'd almost consider that. To have Hendrickson and Chris Jones and Karlaftis on the same line is insane. I would take that all day, every day for $12 million.
So I would it's weird. Like, I like Jalen Phillips and I like Odafe Owe, but I almost feel like Boye Mafe is a safer play. He's cheaper. He does exactly what they want him to do, but he still gets after the quarterback.
He's like an edge setter kind of guy.
You know, like, so it can kind of like, you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone there. Get Spags as a guy that he likes, but it's also a guy that's going to get after the quarterback. So we're going to get some pass rush too.
Remember, ADK's coming back. He'll be back next year. I don't think we've completely written him off like 100%.
He ain't going to do nothing. They're going to still
negativity,
brother.
Look, that's
we're 4 or 5 years in at this point. It feels like, and I know we're not, but good Lord,
3. And one of them, he's sitting on the sideline. You know what? Here's what I'll say,
Mike. I have nothing against him, but I have no faith in that. That's crazy.
He looked better in year 2 than he did in year 1, and then last year he got hurt. So maybe he could if he could just become Mike Dana, you win.
If they just let Felix play Felix's game and quit trying to change him, then maybe we could see something. Maybe we could see something. But are they going to do that with Omar Norman Lott when he comes back? We don't even know. They still might be trying to make him fat. I hope not. Not if the injury. But yeah, dude, there's a lot of this is pipe dreams, right? Like, oh, we're going to get Trey Hendrickson, we're going to get this or that. It's like, we know all that's not going to happen. Like, it's almost 100% you're not going to get like a Trey Hendrickson.
Hey, but everybody out there, hit the like button. Wake up. Hit the like button. Share it. Come on. Where you guys at tonight? Have some fun. What in the hell's going on? Wake up. It is Chiefs football time, okay? It's been a long weekend, and we're talking about the Chiefs right now. Get up.
Wake up. Wake your ass up.
Wake up. It's the first of the month. Actually, it's not the first. It's the 15th. I don't know if there's any. Oh, JB woke up with a 5 gifted. There we go.
Go, JB.
Get them fired up and horned up, JB. I love it. JB is the man. 5 gifted. If y'all get one of those, hey, I got them right here. Rick Kaiser, welcome to the crew. Judy Adams, Candace, Hansel, Gianna rode the wall. What a name. I love that. And then T-Bone. Appreciate you guys being here. And guess what? Now you're members of the ACU crew.
Let's go.
Shout out JB, baby. Let's go. Ozark said he's up. Let's go. Okay, so this is going to get us into like draft territory now, right?
Okay, well, let's talk scenarios. Okay, so let's just, hypothetically, we sign A, B, and C in free agency. Then what does that free up in the draft, and what makes more sense in the draft if we get A, B, and C? So let's go that route.
Right. So let's say A, B, and C. Do we trade McDuffie or not? What do you think?
I say we sit.
So we sit on McDuffie. So it's either an extension or a sit. So no matter what, he's on the roster. So corners off the table now in round 1, maybe even round 2. Okay. We're going to go ahead and give him Breece Hall. We're going to give him a pass rusher. So I think, why am I coming through your speakers now?
I thought I heard some sirens coming from your end or something. I was losing my mind.
It was my end.
Okay.
Somebody's blaring a TV back here. Bunch of deaf people, I guess, like can't hear the TVs. They're like, hey, let's turn it up.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Let's go ahead and put Breece Hall on it. And let's go ahead and let's just do Boye Mafe. So you've got an edge, you've got a running back.
Yeah.
And you've got McDuffie theoretically now, either long term or at least for another year. So that pretty much takes Jeremiah Love off the table at number 9, does it not?
Yes.
If
you get Breece Hall, you're not drafting.
Yeah, you can't afford to pay him 40 and then give Jeremiah Love 31 million guaranteed. That's wild.
100%. That's not happening.
So do you sit on your hands in free agency because you just want Jeremiah Love so bad in the draft, or no?
No.
I think that'd be the most idiotic thing you could possibly pull off if you're Brett Veach.
Right. Well, I mean, Breece Hall is proven. Like, we know what he is. We know what he can do in the NFL. Jeremiah Love.
Well, you don't even know if he's going to get to number 9. So, okay, You got that going. Breece Hall's out. Do you do running? Well, no, not running back. Do you do wide receiver? Is wide receiver on the table at number 9? I think it is.
It could be.
Rasheed Rice just done something today to piss off everybody.
Just being goofy. But it's like...
Yeah, pissing people off, per usual.
Receivers in play, and I'll say that the reason why receivers in play is because with Brett Veach has always been in play. He's took second-round receiver after second-round receiver after second-round receiver. Yep. He just took a first-rounder with Xavier Worthy, and they sucked. Let's be honest here. I'm not saying that they suck as receivers because I think they have a lot of talent, but they couldn't get open last year. They just could not do it. So, I mean, seeing that, I could see receiver being in play. Absolutely, like a McConnell.
Brendan says defensive end or defensive line at number 9. If the offseason goes the way you just projected, are you still going to look at a defensive end at number 9? If you sign Boye Mafe?
If Ruben Bain's still sitting there, then absolutely. Because that could get crazy.
He might be the only one.
Right. That'd be about the only one. I wouldn't go no Keldrick Falk or anything like that. But if
defensive tackle could still be on the board.
If you got Boye Mafe for $6-7 million a year and Ruben Bain's available too, that's hard to pass up because then you're looking at Chris Jones, Ashton Gelati, Omar Norman Lott, George Karlaftis, Ruben Bain,
Felix
Boye Mafe. Yeah, that gets pretty nasty on that defensive line, right? Now that
does get wild.
Still leaves you a little like light in the pants at defensive tackle, but a lot of those guys can go inside and out.
Peter Woods could be an option.
Right.
That would be an option there. Or, from Texas Tech that everybody loves, Lee Hunter. That could be an option. Caleb Banks, I believe, Florida. So you do have options there at number 9. So I'd put defensive tackle back on the board and Ruben Bain back on the board. Wide receiver would probably have to be in play. Again, you've only got Xavier Worthy, who some people don't like and say he's not developed. You've got Rasheed Rice for one more season and he's gone, and then you got Jalen Royals, and that's it.
Well, I think, if it played out the way that we just said, there's a couple of things I could see happening at this point. So let's just say they got Breece Hall, they got Boye Mafe. Did they get Isaiah Likely? Did they get a tight end weapon or no?
And did they re-sign back Tyquan Thornton? Those would be two questions you'd have to ask.
Another big one, did they re-sign Brian Cook? Because if Caleb Downs is there at 9.
You didn't re-sign Brian Cook. For what they're estimating that kid, you're not re-signing him. I've seen figures where they're throwing him out for 3 years, $37 million. No way. Hell no am I paying him. No.
Dude,
what's a beaver say when he sees running water? Oh, hell no. That's what I'm saying for 3 years, $36 million for Brian Cook. Love him.
I mean,
not in love with him. That's what I say.
In love with him. Well, that's the thing. All I was trying to say, if Downs somehow makes it to 9, you can't pass up that guy. That's all I was trying to get to.
Getting to number 9, though.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, I don't either. I think honestly,
being
Harbaugh
a safety,
and the Giants.
Being a safety, he might. He very well could. I mean, it's not like safety's a premium position everybody's trying to get right at the beginning of the draft. So now, what hurts it this year is there's not a whole lot of quarterbacks to take. Normally, they take up 3 spots, and that's not going to happen this year. So
maybe somebody will get horned up over like Ty Simpson for no good reason.
Maybe, yeah. Well,
I mean, do you think Ty Simpson's as good of do you think he's as good of a prospect as, like, say, Tyler Shuck last year out of Louisville? And then, like, look what he's done. He's took over for New Orleans, and it looks pretty good. So it's like, is he really as bad as he would be, or is he about the same kind of prospect? And if that's the case, there could be a team in the top 10 be like, hey, let's try Ty Simpson.
Maybe.
You got a lot of time to screw it up between now and April, I guess, don't you?
Yeah, I don't know about all that. That sounds wild. Something else that makes sense, though, is you cut Juwan Taylor, and he goes. You got Jalen Moore on one more year. You got Esapole. Maybe that's where. What if they traded back from number 9 and they got a double whammy there? If they were able to get 2 picks in the first round and somehow snake out Kenyon Sadiq and Francis Mayagoa, and then all of a sudden, you've got Kelsey's replacement. And you've got a right tackle of the future. That's massive. That's massive if you already signed the running back and the
signed an edge and a running back in the offseason.
Right. That's huge. That's a great scenario. And you're keeping Trent McDuffie.
I do think, like, talking this out, that has to be like a top tier play. We
Doesn't
sent that
it?
video
It
about
really
Kenyon
does.
Sadiq, and everybody was like, no. And Steve, I don't think me and you ever uttered the words, we should take Kenyon Sadiq at number 9. That never come out of
Hell
our
no.
mouth.
You're not
for the
taking
entire
anyone.
17 minutes.
No tight end.
And
at
people
9.
were like, you guys are crazy. We're not taking him at number 9. Well, I don't know if anybody said we would.
No.
But trading back and getting more picks and taking him around 15 to 20, that might be a hell of a play.
Michael, re-sign Leo. If we can extend Leo, I want to.
That's a good, yeah. Well, look, Brett Veach is going to have to sign a lot of players. He just can't go into the offseason and be like, hey, we're signing 3 guys, we're done. Like, he's got literally like 30 roster spots he's got to fill. So, again, now does that go into play and be like, well, we can't afford 2 $6 million hits, knowing we got to re-sign Leo and this and this and this and this and this. So you never know how it's going to play out.
It could go a million different ways, but I think the scenario we just brought up, that seems like top tier. Like, that's crazy if you were able to plug in all that.
I think the way we did it, though, you may have to get rid of, like, I think that's where the McDuffie contract comes in. You may have to free that $13.5 million up just because we don't have enough picks to fill all spots with drafts.
Well, how much would you have to pay?
You can't do it.
How much would you have to pay Kenyon Sadiq? Or
depends on where you got him. Let me see. Let me find out what
if
you have to pay.
trade back from 9 and you end up getting, say, pick 17, 18, and you get like pick something else that's close. Somehow you just manage to get 2 picks out of that.
Okay, let me see. The rookie scale. Okay, I found it. Spot Rack's got a rookie scale. So the Chiefs are picking at number 9. Where did you want to trade back to? Around like pick 14 or 15? And you look at Sadiq?
Something like that. Yeah, I think that's when you would start looking at him, right?
Okay, so pick
Mid to late
14
first round.
$23.4 million overall, and pick 15 is $22.9 million overall. So right around 23
And that's
million.
over a 5-year span.
It's over 4 years with the option of a
5th year
fifth.
option. Yeah.
So that's coming out to be about $5 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
And you would get Isaiah Likely for like 8 to 9. So he'd
Justin,
be about half the cost of Isaiah Likely, basically.
I slightly agree with Justin here. I feel like number 9 is such an awkward spot that there's not anybody that's just like, we have to take him.
Dude, everybody's thinking 9 is so fun. And do you remember the whole, we got a tank, let's get as high as we can? And I kept telling everybody, I don't know if that's a thing. Like, let's not just do it. Like, it's just because you're picking higher don't mean anything.
Right.
I honestly think trading back's wild. Like, that's probably what you got to do. Like, every scenario I come up with, trading back's the best one. And nobody's going to find that sexy, and nobody's going to like it.
But I think it's the most likely thing.
But I think it's the most logical and the best thing to do.
Julia says Morno Williams, 100%. I think we got to rely more on him.
Has to.
That's not even a question. Got to see some Jeffrey Bossa, 100%, the kid. We need to see him more, see what we got going on there. I think we're going to see Omar Norman Lott back, who I think can do some work, man. And Ashton Gelati's getting better and better. But I did see in the chat where Julia said something about Jake Brenningstool. I just wanted to touch on that for a split second. I think Jake Brenningstool is intriguing, but he was also a UDFA. And it's like there's some hope there, but to me, it's like I know there's our boys over at Chief Concerns, they really like to pump up Jake Brenningstool. Boom, 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 boom. They're so big on it. They also pumped up LRZ.
Exactly. I can't.
So, like, I can't get on board with pumping up these
a UDFA.
UDFAs. I can't do it.
Can't do it.
So I'm going to have to say, could Brenningstool be good? Yes. Will he? You're looking at a 15% chance this guy's going to do anything. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think so, too. I think you definitely can't. You can't depend on that. You can't plan for that.
Steve Wink says somebody has to move up for us to move back. That's a valid point. But here's what I would say. If you're not sold on one of these wide receivers, that could be a valid reason for a team to come up 3 or 4
A team
spots.
could want to come up to get a Mekhi Lemon,
or Mekhi
Parnell
Lemon.
Tate.
Maybe even
absolutely.
Sonny Styles at that point. If you're Dallas sitting at like 13, they don't think he's going to get there.
Or if somebody like Caleb Downs falls to 9, there's a lot of people that's going to want that value. Because he's a monster.
I'd just take Caleb Downs though. Would you?
I would
if
too,
Caleb Downs was at number 9, or you could trade back to 14, would you just take Downs, or would you go back to 14, take a pick, and maybe get Sadiq? Not to mention at 14, you could still get Peter Woods. That's not even out of the question at 14.
It depends. What's the other pick that you're getting with it?
Right. It would almost just be like a second round, maybe a third. Just to come up 3 or 4 picks, you ain't getting much.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It would depend. It would really depend.
It does. It's wild.
Well, like you said, I think there's like a handful of blue chippers in this draft. There's a handful of blue chippers in this draft, like right off the dome, like blue chippers in positions that we need. So I'm not counting quarterback and all that. You got Jeremiah Love, I think, is a blue chip prospect. You have Caleb Downs as a blue chip prospect. You have Reuben Bain as a blue chip prospect.
That's my only 3 in the whole draft.
That's
you
about
just nailed him.
it.
That's my only 3 in the whole draft.
You could maybe, just for the simple fact that he's so much further ahead of the other tight ends, say that Kenyon Sadiq is.
Yeah,
but,
I kind of feel that way too. Like Sadiq's got all that stuff, and people's like, but look at how bad he was in college. That scares me. And it's like, well, they just didn't use him properly.
Yeah, that guy, dude, if you
Go look
really
at
watch
Kelsey in
his
college.
tape.
Kelsey didn't produce in college either. Chris Jones didn't produce shit in college. And look
I
at him.
said this on the video where we were talking about Kenyon Sadiq, but if you want somebody that can reach the ceiling of Travis Kelce, prime Travis Kelce, like the athleticism, the vertical threat, all that, it's Kenyon Sadiq.
Yep.
just
Absolutely.
is.
Steve, you hear it? We got Brenda Pike in the house.
Brenda. Let's go,
Hey,
Brenda.
Brenda's woke up. Brenda's up today. She's awake. She got 5 gifted. Let's see who they went out to. I can find them. Justin Blackwell, our boy. He got a gifted. Ozark Hillbilly.
Let's go.
Another gifted. Look at that. JB6930, Jimmy Wayne, and Chuck Norris. Shout out Chuck Norris, the legend himself, in the chat today. Who would have woke up today and thought Chuck freaking Norris was going to be here?
He's here. He's here.
Karate chopping the shit out of something. Chuck Norris is here.
Hey, Brenda, we appreciate you. Thank you for
Yeah.
always supporting. You're awesome. Super Pro Grow. Super Pro Grow. Let me get it right. Zion Young at 40, Love at 9. I'm going to say this. If that happened, I would not be happy.
Oh, you wouldn't like that? Mm-mm. You wouldn't like a Love Zion Young 1-2 punch, huh?
No. Now, if
I wouldn't be happy if it was the offseason we just laid out.
Well, let's just lay it out differently. Let's just say we didn't get Breece Hall. We didn't get Etienne. We didn't even get a Tyler Algier. We got nothing.
Oh,
I wouldn't be super mad at Love at 9. Zion Young, though, and I know a lot of people have him sneaking into the back end of the first round, early second round. I like him too, but I don't think he moves the needle enough for me to get excited about. I don't.
To me, Zion Young is like, he's a little more athletic, like guy, kind of like a Karl Loftus in a way, where he's like just a motor. He's a motor, not his body type, but he's like a motor.
Yeah, he's kind of like a
what is he? 260?
Carlos Dunlap, something like that.
I mean, he can get after it though. Zion Young's good, man.
I don't know if that gets
It don't
me
make
going.
you horned up though, does it?
I don't
At
think
least
so.
You don't.
I don't guess I would be mad at it, Super Pro Grow, but I don't know.
I think a lot of Chiefs fans would like him because he's a Mizzou guy.
Yeah, well, they said the same thing about Nick Bolton, and then they turned on him in a heartbeat.
They said the same thing about Felix Uzama coming out of K-State too. Zion Young, I've got him right now as my number 7. He's just behind Akeem Mesidor. Would you be happier with Akeem Mesidor over Zion Young?
The only reason I wouldn't is because of the age difference. I'm pretty sure
he's ready to go. Body's ready to go. He's a win now. We're a win now team. So if you got him for 4 years, could be good.
I'd take Mesidor over him probably. I think I had him ranked higher in my top 10. I'd have to go back and look, but I'm pretty positive I did. Actually, you know what? I'm going to see if I can open it up right now, and I'll tell you. I'll tell you exactly where I ranked them. And I have not moved them. I haven't moved them since my first initial rankings. So
I've got a red flag next to Zion Young's name. Why the hell do I got a red flag evaluation next to Zion Young?
Something scared you.
Oh, 2025. That's what it was. This year, he was arrested in early December for a DWI, speeding, and failure to properly affix his license plate. Okay, not so worried about the license plate thing, but the DWI speeding thing.
So this is crazy. Let me tell you how I had these ranked initially, and I have not touched them since I first started watching tape.
Which was like, what, a month ago?
This was the 7th of January.
Yeah. About
So
5 weeks.
a little over a month. I had Reuben Bain at 1, David Bailey at 2. I had Cassius Howell at 3, Joshua Joseph at 4, Derek Moore from Michigan at 5, R. Mason Thomas 6, 7 Romello Height from Texas Tech, 8 Keldrick Falk, 9 Akeem Mesidor, 10 Zion Young. That was my top 10.
Boy, you got a lot of those speedsters that old Spags ain't going to touch with a 10-foot pole, huh?
Well, that too. And you know, that's just the guys that I liked and the guys that I thought were
But
good.
that was before you've kind of warmed up a little bit on Keldrick Falk. T.J. Parker showed out really well.
I still don't think I would move Keldrick Falk up very much from 7. I don't think I would even move him. I don't know.
Have you got to watch anything about Gabe Akis from Illinois, who's he's becoming quickly one of my faves.
He's good too. I think he could maybe sneak into the back end of my top 10.
Love Gabe Akis.
I can't wait to kind of restructure some of this stuff and look at it again. The Joe says Bailey will be a bust. It's a possibility. Bailey's not going to fit in with the Chiefs. I doubt they'd take him. So, I mean.
I was just watching today. Who was I watching today? It might have been Todd McShay. He said that everything he's hearing from around the league, there is a lot of people thinking David Bailey's the number one edge rusher. And I get scared of a guy that's 247 pounds that can't play defense, like can't stop the run.
Well, I mean, you start looking at some edge rushers and kind of the prototypes of how they've been. Who's been the most effective edge rushers? I mean, if you kind of think about Trey Hendrickson and Myles Garrett and Max Crosby and those types of guys, but also there's been a really big emphasis on those speed rushers, dude. Micah Parsons, Nick Bonito. Like, there's a lot of those guys. So, I mean, he could kind of fit in.
He could, but if I'm not mistaken, Nick Bonito is the only guy that's sub 250 right now that just strictly plays defensive end and has been impactful.
That's the thing with David Bailey. It's going to be interesting to see if they would put him in a 4-3 defense. Like, I almost feel like he's an outside linebacker.
Yeah, he's a 3-4 guy.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the same with Cassius Howell. But those are guys that I think would be interesting to see if they could put their hand in the dirt and go from the edge. Or they just stand up. I did notice that Spags' defense did stand up a little more last year. We got to see Gelati and George Karlaftis stand up on the edge a few times.
Another
We've
thing
seen
that
Leo
really
stand
talks
up on the
about
edge.
with David Bailey is in 2025 he had 12 penalties coming off the edge. Like that was he was the highest penalized edge, I believe, in NCAA football.
That's pretty wild. I didn't know that.
So I mean, he was given 5 yards here and there and free plays all over the place, I think.
Yep, let's go. Shane's in the house with the 5 bombs. It's happy belated Valentine's Day. Love y'all. Love you, Shane. Hope you had a good one, brother. You and your lady. Hope you're being safe out there.
I know where you guys had dinner last night too.
Where did they have dinner?
Shane, let me think. Hold up. A place called Jazz, I think.
Why are you making this up, or were you stalking Shane?
No, somebody told me. I don't remember who it was.
Shut up. Super Pro Grow also says Saints might take Love at 8. Kamara getting old. There's a couple of teams that could take Love earlier than 9. Like,
dude,
we've seen them go as high as 3.
Yeah. That's wild, though. I don't know about it.
It is wild, but when you kind of hold them in the same conversation as, you know, Saquon Barkley and Jahmyr Gibbs and, you know, the dude from the Falcons, like Bijan Robinson and guys like that, when you kind of put them in that range and like, oh, he's a blue chip, can't miss prospect, like those guys got taken pretty damn high. You know what I'm saying?
Steve, we've talked about this before. Okay, he's not Bijan, he's not Saquon. He don't hit the Quan. He don't get a wand.
I don't think he's there. I think he's somewhere between there and Jahmyr Gibbs.
But if he's Jahmyr Gibbs, you still take him, right? The Chiefs would gladly. If Jahmyr Gibbs was in this draft and we took him at number 9, everybody'd be throwing a party.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Jeremiah Love's right there.
But that's the thing, though. There's a lot of people that thought that Jahmyr Gibbs could fall to the Chiefs at the end of the first round, bro. If you remember that.
Cajun food.
I'm
going to have to try it out. Next time I'm in KC, I'm going to Jazz. I heard they got Cajun food. I heard it's awesome. I love Cajun food. It's the way to go.
Well, Jeremiah Love's going to have to learn to love Cajun food as well down there in New Orleans.
Oh, yeah, he might. Or he just goes to Jazz once a year while he's here. Dude, I don't know, man. It's been a fun conversation today. And again, people wanting to get into the draft, but it's like, look, I think we got to slow our rolls a little bit because we've got to make some offseason decisions, and then free agency comes first.
I think it's
And that dictates
absolutely
everything.
Absolutely, you got to slow the roll just a bit because, like you said, it's who are we going to re-sign, who are we going to retain, and then it's who we're going to pick up in free agency.
Watch your
then
new
we'll start
needs.
talking about the draft.
Yeah.
Because I think if anything today, just the exercise that we just did just goes to show you this thing could go in a million different directions.
Yeah.
You know, if they were to go out in free agency and not look at running back, not look at edge rusher and just sign some random person that Brett Veach likes to do, go sign a cornerback or something crazy, then all of a sudden the draft looks a lot different. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's really hard to judge what they're going to do in a draft before you know what they're doing as far as retaining players, cutting players, and free agency. And free agency is coming up soon, isn't it, Mike? When does free agency kick off? In like a
March
month?
11th.
Less than a month.
The new year. Look, we didn't talk about this, and I wanted to get to this. We baited this early, and I'm going to get to it. The Trent McDuffie trade. This was put out. Okay, you guys got to see this. It is ridiculous.
Terrible.
A to Z Peyton, who is a beat writer, works for A to Z Sports. He's a beat writer for the Detroit Lions. This is what he said. A trade projection for McDuffie. They'll send us the 50th overall pick and Mekhi Wingo, who, by the way, has 12 tackles in his whole career, for Trent McDuffie, and then we'll absorb his $13 million cap hit.
How about no?
What the hell is that? You're going to give us
dreaming.
You think $13 million in Mekhi Wingo and a 50th pick in the draft is going to get a top 3 corner in football, you moron? Who is this guy?
Dude, that's a dude dreaming right there.
If anybody follows that guy on X, you're just asking to, like we thought Detroit was a dumb fan base, and now we understand it.
That's pretty bad. That's one of the worst scenarios I've seen, and there's no way in hell he could think that would work.
Bro, I would have
He's
hung
been playing
up the
too much.
phone.
Mike, do you think he force traded that on Madden?
Half.
He force traded that on his Madden game and thought it was a good idea.
Steve, if Detroit offered me that trade, I would call the league and make them forfeit a pick to me just for having to listen to the shit.
Yeah.
I'd have been like, I'm getting your 5th round pick just for you calling.
Like, you know what?
Having the audacity
how about
to say
this?
that.
How about no matter what? I don't even care if you're trying to give me the best player that you got. Just never contact me again. Shane, Mike, he says, bro, how the F did you know we went to Jazz? Did I drink too much and leave you a voicemail? Yeah, well,
No,
how are you,
I think
you stalking him?
No, Brian Parrott said that you guys, he heard you guys went to Jazz.
Why would Brian Parrott randomly say, hey, Mike,
because
I heard that Shane went to Jazz?
Yeah, because he had asked me a question. He said, where did you go on Valentine's Day? And I said that we all went to Texas Roadhouse, and it was kind of mid.
Well,
and
yeah,
because
we weren't really doing Valentine's Day. We just wanted
Shane
to
went to
stay.
Jazz. Yeah, he was like, I heard Shane went to Jazz. And I didn't know what it was. So I looked it up, and it was Cajun food. And I said, I'm going to Jazz. Shane, you take me to Jazz next Valentine's Day. How about that? I'll join in with you and Rachel. We'll just go to Jazz together.
Flapjack with the 5 bomb says we took CEH in the first round. Same Chiefs fans that said never again are screaming love. 100%. That's something else that
isn't Jeremiah Love way better prospect?
It's different, but at the same time, the same people that were like, you cannot take a first round running back. Like they're on that board now, and they're talking like top 10. You know, so.
But I mean, come on, Steve. I think Jeremiah Love, though, as a prospect, in my opinion, I think he's just as good or better than Ashton Genty. Yeah,
maybe.
100%. I think so.
Maybe he's right there with him. I
think he's more athletic.
Yeah, Genty's more of a tackle breaking machine.
Right, and I think Jeremiah Love's just more of a home run hitter. He's got better vision, in my opinion.
You could be right there. That's a good kind of comparison. Because Ashton Genty to me is not a Saquon Barkley or a Bijan Robinson. He's right below. So, yeah.
And I think he's right there with him, if not a little better. And so I'm saying, so in that draft, you could be mad about, Jonathan Taylor. Okay, Jonathan Taylor, we'd have all been speaking a different, we'd have been happy about taking a running back, really. So,
yeah, Ozar Killbilly says trade back, I say. I honestly do think that makes the most sense. Now, hear me out. If you weren't able to get a good running back in free agency, then maybe you don't trade back if Love's there.
You almost have to do it.
Right. I see Jaron in the chat says he likes Mike Washington Jr. He's a beast, brother.
Big fan
Same.
of Mike Washington Jr.
He's kind of a my guy for me and Mike.
Dude, he reminds me of DeMarco Murray. Hey, coincidence that we went and got DeMarco Murray. Hey, that's who he reminds me of a little bit in college.
Ryan says, I like Love, but I disagree that he's on that elite tier like Bijan, Saquon, CMC, Gibbs. Okay, I don't think Gibbs needs to be in the same conversation as the other three.
Me either. And that's where I put him.
Yeah, I think Gibbs is more with Ashton Genty and Jeremiah Love. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Bijan, Saquon, CMC, I think they're kind of in their own little tier.
They're like generational type dudes. But I mean, even Bijan was on the cusp of almost being, not Bijan, Saquon was almost on the cusp of being like a bust because he couldn't stay healthy.
Well, that, and he played for the worst team in football.
Exactly.
You know?
But then, he's done a lot for his career since going to the Eagles. But if he would have stayed with the Giants, we'd have been looking at him in 5 or 10 years being like, he wasn't worth a good pick.
Boehner, Love at 9, or trade back for Sadiq. And that completely depends on what happens before the draft.
Yeah.
So let's just say nothing happens. They don't do anything.
They ain't doing shit.
They don't re-sign anybody. They don't get anybody free agency, Mike. What would you do then? Because I think if Bain or Love are there at 9 and you have a need still, you got to take them.
Yeah. Again, it's
if
your
you
choice.
don't have
Pick
the
your
need,
poison.
if you went out and signed Breece Hall and Boye Mafe, then no, I'm trading back. I'll trade back.
Right.
It really
If you
just
go by
depends.
strictly my draft board, I've got Bain as my overall number 2 player and Love's my number 3. So I would take Bain. Now, and I don't know. That might be a bad pick, honestly.
Yeah, that's a tough one there, isn't it?
It is a
Just
tough
between
one.
them two. Because like you said, they're probably two of the 3 blue chip players.
Yeah.
If they're
Caleb
maybe
Downs is by
4.
far the best football player in this draft. Like, there's something about that kid that's special. I see Eric Berry all over him.
Yeah, he's a monster, bro.
I love him.
He's huge.
But, yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. Guys, appreciate y'all being here. Do us a favor, hit that like button on the way out if you haven't already. That helps your boys out. Keep a lookout for content coming up this week. We'll be having the pod releasing soon. We'll have more live streams for you, all kinds of good stuff. Make sure to check that out. We've also been experimenting a little bit with the vertical lives, and I know it's not this, but it's something that we can get together and talk about football with when we have spare time. It's just something we're throwing in extra. And, of course, after they're done, we're kind of going members only with those. That way the members can watch them anytime they want. So it's just a little extra content for you. So be on the lookout for that, too. Shout out DraftKings for sponsoring tonight's live stream. If you don't have DraftKings, download that bad boy and use the promo code ACU and let them know that we sent you their way. Guys, you have a good night. We'll be back later. Talk more Chiefs football. Let's go.
Get wild.